My name is Jennifer Brum, and this is my story. When we took our kids river rafting, it was at Tom Sawyer River. It was beautiful. There wasn't any risk, we thought. We had a reputable company. We had all the gear. We had good weather. What we didn't realize is that they hadn't checked the river properly, and there had been very strong rains the day before, and the river had risen. A tree had fallen across the river, and as we went down, there was no way to avoid the tree. So the raft hit the tree, went sideways, and flipped over before we had any time to talk to our children, to plan what we would do, where would we meet, what would happen, and to reassure them that they'd be okay. I was trapped underneath the raft. It was dark, it was loud. I was being sucked underwater, and I didn't think I would make it. In my reality, that was it. I was dead. I was terrified. I didn't know where my children were, and I didn't know if they were drowning. I didn't know where my husband was or if he was able to help them. My son was thrown from the raft by my husband, but he was not thrown quite far enough. The raft flipped, and the bow of the raft hit him on the head and pushed him under. Luckily, he popped up on the outside of the raft and was able to grab hold of a log. My daughter landed on top of me and immediately was sucked underwater and disappeared. My husband ended up in the whitewater and was pushed downriver quite far enough that he could not help his family, but he could watch the whole thing. I fought for my life under that raft for what felt like a very long time, until I made a decision to either drown or try and just let go and see if I can find my kids. So I let go, and I went underneath. I got sucked under, not knowing if I'd be trapped underneath that log and if that's where I was going to die. I flipped around underneath that water for, I don't know, a few somersaults until somebody grabbed my ankle and pulled me out. That's when I saw my daughter. I grabbed her, I hugged her, told her I loved her, and I started looking for Charlie, screaming his name, until I finally saw him attached to the log. He looked terrified. And my husband was down the river screaming for everybody, "Where's Charlie? Where's my wife?" I got my kids into that raft, which had blood all over it from the guide's hand, convinced them that they would be okay. We ended up going back up the river without the men in the boat. And that was quite near impossible. Just me and the guide and 4 children in shock, trying to make it back up the White River. And anyway, we caught the white water, we went back down, and when we got out, we just looked at each other in total shock that we all made it. Thank God, but we made it. And when we got home, we didn't talk about it. We kept it together for the kids. We're all fine, it's okay, it was scary, but it's over. We can all learn from this and let's just move on. I realized I needed help when I found myself in that chair every day, alone, going through the same thing, getting worse actually each day. I felt like everything was spiraling out of my control, that I wasn't getting better, I was getting worse. And if I didn't do something about it, then I wasn't going to be a very good mother, I wasn't going to be a very good wife, and I wasn't going to have a very good life. One day, my husband had gone to work, my kids had gone to school, and there I was, back in my recliner. Flashbacks from the accident, sitting in my depression, my anxiety. And my girlfriend texted me and said, "Hey, how about we have a coffee?" So I came up with a little excuse. So today's not a great day, how about tomorrow? And she wrote right back and said, "Something's wrong. I'm gonna be there in 5 minutes." So my girlfriend comes over and we just held each other for about I don't know, 5-10 minutes, and I just released so much tension, tears, everything I've been holding on to, everything that I didn't want anybody else to see. And she just held me there, and she comforted me and just let me be exactly where I was at. And that is exactly what I needed in that moment, just to be seen where I was at. And it didn't matter what it looked like or what I said. It was just having that unconditional love. When you're affected by a trauma and you start falling into the path of PTSD, it is very, very common to fall into isolation, depression, anxiety, flashbacks, heart palpitations, tears. You feel alone and you feel like nobody will understand. It's hard to talk about. You don't want to feel those feelings. To tell my story, it was hard. But after I did it, I felt so much better, so much lighter. And I encourage anybody that's been through a trauma to just gather every bit of strength that they have, reach out and connect with people. Light On PTSD hopes to empower the public to come forward, to share their stories, to connect with others, and to explore the therapeutic options that are available. There is help for PTSD. What happened in your past is in your past, but you don't have to carry it into the present.